In the darkest nights, we find our light. Battered souls, but we won't lose sight. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, never alone. Through every trial, we carry on. Surviving together, we stand tall. United forever. Strength and courage will overcome. Surviving together, victorious, and never, never alone. Hand in hand, we'll face the unknown.
We see you, we hear you, and we believe you. Hey everyone, how you doing today? You have landed at Surviving Together. If you didn't know, here is a safe space for sexual assault and other trauma survivors to connect and hopefully do some little healing. Welcome to everyone who supports us and who just wants to learn more about trauma and trauma-related issues. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. So thanks to Body Illusion for cluing me in. Wanted to make sure and mention that. It is a unfortunately, a horrible problem that happens more than people know. It happens in every town in America. It happens throughout the world. And we want to make sure that, yeah, exactly. It's a very important day. So we want to make sure and recognize that. I apologize for any interruptions today. My son's in and out, and we've got some things going on. So I may have to, mute and deal with that today. But it is... Wow, Primo, this is awesome. Primo says, I'll be investing heavily in 2025 in exposing fraud and scumbags on social media, currently interviewing experts, prosecutors, lawyers, law enforcement, etc. That would be awesome. These are some of the areas that for human trafficking that people can do the most in, as well as, Shannon, being an airline stewardess, you see somebody, who's very young traveling with somebody who's older. You're like, I don't know if this is a relative or not. You're just checking in and just, hey, are you okay type of thing. I have seen cases where people have been able to get airline personnel notes, or a waiter or waitress at a restaurant just slipping them a note saying, hey, I need help. Just being aware, of people who look very uncomfortable around the person who they're in, or who constantly have their eyes down and aren't interacting. The person's always speaking for them. They're not ordering themselves, or they're not, doing anything for themselves. The adult with them is the mouthpiece, or whoever looks to be in control of the person if they are an adult. There's just, so many things that we can do just by being aware, and you never know if you're going to be that right person in that right place in time. So it makes a difference just to be aware of our surroundings and aware of the people that are in it. Shannon said it happened to her last year and she had to report it to the 1-800 number. Yeah, you could potentially save somebody's life. It truly, seriously is that serious. And a lot of times these people, may not be willing to even stand up for themselves. They are so traumatized. Within the first 24 to 48 hours of somebody being trafficked, they're going to suffer immense trauma. And it's heartbreaking and easy to see how broken down they can be in just such a short amount of time. So definitely, be aware, keep an eye on your surroundings and report anything that's suspicious. If it turns out that that person doesn't need help, that they are, somebody's daughter or somebody's niece or cousin or whatever the situation is, and they're just having a bad day, then that's fine. But that person hopefully would be, I'm talking about the person who looked to be the controller, the handler. Hopefully, if that's not the situation, that they will take it with grace that there was a concern. Because if that was their daughter or their mother or their sister, I would hope that they would want somebody as interested in the welfare of others. And I know some people, they don't. They're just, sorry guys, my hair is wet, so you can see it's starting to dry and starting to kind of go all over the place. So I'm definitely uh, definitely playing with it more than I want to. Um, Hi, Arlene. I'm going to say hi, a little bit hi to everybody here because a bunch of people have been floating in while I've been chatting. Tommy, good afternoon. Hope all is going well for you this afternoon. We have Crystal, who has got exciting news. She's got her. We talked about this last time. But her trailer is on the market. So woohoo! Now we just need to get her a move-in date, and it will be great. Body Illusion, welcome. I hope you're having a great day. Joe Della said hi to you in written chat, but let me do a shout out. James Simpson, Janet. Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Janet. I know you busy, busy, busy. I've never seen someone run so many errands in my life, but she is all over. And let's see, Primo, and I think we're kind of back to the beginning. Kremel, thank you so much for dropping links in today. Between you and Shannon being here, I know that things will be taken care of on that avenue. So really, really appreciate it. Let's see if I missed anybody. I am sorry. Primo, do you have a channel? Because your name that I've seen occasionally with Stigs/Thindu, but I don't know much about. So if you do have a channel, please just drop it in the chat, and one of the wrenches can redo it so that it's a clickable link. Marta, thank you for stopping by. So glad to see you. I think I only saw you this morning for a brief time that I was in Stiggs's live. Thindu, ended your live, did you? Thanks for stopping by. ALV, I need to do your, I still need to replay. That's going to be my tonight thing instead of last night. I was still doing the headache thing last night, so I was sleeping away. I've kind of lost 3 days of my life to that, but due to the weather, so migraines will kind of be on and off the next month or so, and then we'll be good until the fall. Shannon, thank you so much for dropping Primo's link. I really appreciate that. What else have we got here? Let's see. Crystal Phoenix is not here. She's not with us. As soon as I get a link from her, the anthology that she put out that had several people who we know, Brian Lucas and Misha, and let's see, and Christy, Cosmic Christie. They all had stories in the anthology. Brian just also did a poem, the opening poem that's the opening of the book. And it is now in print version. So you can get it electronically for free, or you can get the print soft cover paperback book. And as soon as I get a link for that, I will definitely drop it in. Sorry, guys. I don't have background music, so I'll make my own when I'm reading the chat. And then at the beginning, Kremel did drop a channel, Living My Best Life at 60. That is Echo's channel. I'm going to be on her channel on the 25th of this month. So January 25th at 7 p.m. I'm going to do a community post about that soon, so you guys will know, but I'll keep talking about it between now and then. So it is going to be 7 p.m. It's a Saturday, so it's just going to be an hour or two after I get done on the live on the 25th. And I'm going to be talking about my story and whatever else she wants to ask me about. So I'm not really sure what all we'll be talking about, but it should be a good time. And if you who haven't either watched my initial videos or just want to hear kind of a synopsis of my story and how I got into this and why I started this channel, you can catch me on Echo's channel. And I think that's it for the announcements part of this. So what are we talking about today? Well, we talked Wednesday about online relationships, and specifically I was speaking more in the, if you're going to have a romantic relationship, what are the do's and don'ts and what do you need to watch out for and that sort of thing. Well, today we are going to be speaking about platonic relationships, so non-romantic. So whether this is in the professional field or whether this is personal, the stuff we're going to talk about is going to apply to both of them. My focus is going to be, though, more on the personal friendship relationships that we make through our channels and through the chats. If you are in any of the live chats, the connections that we make, especially given the channel subject that I have, that a lot of the channels that are related here have. They're in the mental health field. And most of us are damaged in some way or another. And I use that in quotes. We've suffered trauma in our past. And when you connect with somebody else on our level, we definitely, I think, tend to really gravitate to that person. It can be very easy to make an emotional connection with them. And how do we protect ourselves from getting hurt, from weeding out people who are real, weeding out people whose desires, their intentions are genuine and real, and the people who aren't going to be toxic to us. Can we do that? We can, somewhat. And so that's what we're going to be speaking about today. And, none of it's foolproof. I have tried my best to implement these when I have been establishing relationships online, and I've gotten burnt as well. I mean, some people are good maskers, very good maskers. And that's why I encourage you to look up gaslighting, look up manipulation tactics, be aware of these things. Perhaps that should be, perhaps that would be a contact stuff that I talk about. I try to make sure that I don't go too off base in terms of where my channel is, but certainly with trauma, dealing with people, with predators, with abusers, manipulation tactics and gaslighting are part and parcel. Most abusers are narcissistic in one form or another, whether they are in their general life or it's more those traits are just projected to whoever their victims are, can differ. But I think if you look at them in terms of vis-a-vis any sort of relationship they try to establish with an abuser or with a victim, you will start to see some of these things, or hopefully you can. And listen to your friends. I'm getting so off topic. I'm getting so into this already. Body, you wanted me to look and see. Yes, I did, buddy. I think I talked about the National Human Trafficking Awareness just before you popped in. So I did mention it. Thank you very much for reminding me. I really appreciate it. Um, yes, it's an incredibly important subject. And human trafficking, again, people think it can't happen to them. We're a middle class white bread family type of thing. It can't happen to me. Oh, yes, it can. And the only thing you need to do is type in human trafficking victim or survivor on YouTube and watch the stories pop up. And you will see people from all different walks of life who got sucked into it in one form or another, because human trafficking is more than just trafficking people for sexual reasons. It can be for domestic reasons as well. They're basically slaves in terms of manual labor. There are people who are in other countries who I know, especially in some Southeast Asian countries, who have been trafficked over there, the promise of, we'll get you a good job either in this or that or the other thing. And they agree to go and they're taken. And it's the same playbook. Their passports are taken away, their identifications are taken away. They're indentured servants, but there's no way to ever pay off that money so that they can be free, because they'll add lodging on. And so you're paying for what you're only getting right now, and there's no way to pay what you can't. And so people escape, and that's the real world. It escapes. Um, it's just just unreal. Yeah, narcissism is, I'm not an expert on it, but it certainly relates to our trauma issues. And um, Dr. Ramani, I forget her first name, but she is excellent. She has so many videos. Ramani is Ramini. If somebody wants to drop a link to her channel, she's a doctor, a therapist. Yeah, Shannon, she's great. And she is a real specialist in narcissism. If I do a live just in terms of narcissism, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of research with her channels, probably pulling a lot from hers, because she is able to speak about it in a way that really makes sense. And she's got so many videos that pretty much any aspect of it that you want to look at, or how it relates to other different situations, she's probably covered it. So definitely check her out. So let's get into it. In terms of online relationships, platonic relationships, like I said, you can have professional or personal relationships, and these can be extremely beneficial to us. Don't want to steer you in any other way. We just have to be careful to protect ourselves, look for red flags, set good boundaries, and be able to know when to draw back. In connecting with other people, we connect because we have shared interests, whether that's hobbies, whether it's a channel such as this, because you've either gone through a traumatic situation or somebody who has, and you're just providing support and learning more about trauma, perhaps even just learning about these topics and discovering, gosh, I've definitely had some trauma in my life. I just didn't categorize it like that. I didn't use those words. So just knowing what you have and what you're dealing with, or what somebody else is dealing with, is incredibly important. I'm definitely going to get back to you guys' chats after I talk about the positives. Networking, either from a professional or a social tact. the fact that we have people from all over the world, being able to connect with other people from different cultures in different countries, whether it's just personal networking or whether it's professional networking, that the internet has expanded our possibilities. And I know I've been able to speak with people who I never would have been able to connect with in different areas. Primo, I am so interested in what you're doing. And, um, as an activist, as a say I'm less of an activist than an advocate, as a trauma, a sexual assault advocate, and as an attorney, I would love to speak with you. I would love to hear what the things that are going on, what you're finding out. Um, it's incredibly important. Geez. Oh, great. Yeah, Shannon threw up Dr. Armani's YouTube right there. So if you guys are interested in narcissism, she is excellent. Oop, she is absolutely excellent with it. What are some of our other positives? I mean, just learning. I mean, think about all of the things that I have learned on other people's channels by connecting with others, not only just from another culture, but even on the same subject, from mental health, all of the different people who have come out, who have done channels, the people that I meet in the chats. We'll be talking about a subject and somebody will put a different spin on it. And it makes me think in a slightly different way, going, do I have this right? That's a different way of thinking about it. Do I agree with it? Maybe, maybe not. Um, finding out how, I talk a lot about in the US how I do believe that things have gotten better in the last 20 years, and they're certainly better than 20 years previous. By speaking with people in other countries, I see where they're at, in comparison to where I feel we are in the US in generally. And it's all across the board. There are some countries where I feel that they've gotten it right. They're a little bit better with it. And then there are other countries that are still that 20 years behind, who are still in I call like the 80s, 90s, where we were then. And it's unfortunate, but hopefully, again, I mean, we've got the internet, we've got everybody who has come together, and France is a prime example with the movement that they have now. There hasn't been that big of a focus on the laws, the punishments for abusers, for predators. And there's definitely now, with Giselle Pellico kind of being the face of the movement there, people who want to change that. And I really hope that it happens. I spoke briefly last live about in Belgium and how so this would have been in the 90s when Marc Dutroux was on trial, and there was a huge uproar, and they had a march with about 300,000 people, which I think at the time was about a third of the population of the country. I mean, so we're talking phenomenal numbers. And unfortunately, that momentum did not stay. And so the changes that could have happened, it just kind of fizzled out. So we'll see. We'll have to see where things go in different countries. Hey, DeAudrey, how you doing? I am glad that finding a rental place that takes a cat is close to impossible. Really? I would never have guessed that. Because most places here in the US are, for rentals generally are like, well, you can have a small animal. And cats usually fall within that. That's Hey Hollywood, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in today. Joe Dallas says 1996, Belgium. Thank you very much. And I think it was called the White March. Um, and it just true shame that the things didn't take off with that. Like I said, I don't want this to be all negative. And so in speaking about more about the positives, this offers us an opportunity to communicate with people we may not. It gives us an opportunity sometimes to come out of our shell a little bit. There is still that anonymity. I hate that word. Ugh, I hate saying that word, I should say. With being online in a different format than face to face, and so there is an opportunity for us to maybe say things that we might not, and I'm talking in a positive way, right? Um, Being able to become more confident because we're speaking with people, we're coming out of our shell, we're coming out of isolation. Um, we've spoken about this before, that isolating is a 100% a human response, and definitely part and parcel with trauma response. It is. It can feel more comfortable just to be by ourselves and not to have to interact with other people. And I am not going to say it's never a good thing, because I think there are times where we need to pull back from, whether it's YouTube or toxic people in our lives. And if that's the reason that you're isolating, I think that's okay. Sometimes we need to collect ourselves. We need to get back to, baseline, and just kind of cut out the negative. But it's dangerous for us to stay there long term. And I think some people found that out with COVID, who might not have otherwise isolated, found that after COVID ended, it was real easy to stay isolated, particularly a lot of people like me. We worked from home throughout COVID and the lockdown. And then when things started to open up again, we were allowed to still work from home if we wanted to. And I'll tell you, I like my commute a lot better. I go downstairs, I make my coffee, I feed the cat, and I can come back upstairs and work. And I don't have to get dressed in anything other than the PJs that I'm wearing. So it became real easy. And now with Instacart and Walmart, and we have Meijer stores here, which is a northern thing, but the grocery stores that you can just order your groceries online and have them delivered to you. We can order anything online. And so there is really, in general, not a need for most of us to have to leave the house. And that can be dangerous. So even if you're physically isolating, reaching out and having connections through here can be very positive, because it does draw you out of isolation, meaning you are the only person that you're talking to, or that one other person who happens to be at your house, or your cat or your dog or whatever. Hey, Christy, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. How is down under? Yeah, Meyer, it's a grocery store. It's one of the grocery stores that we have here, like Publix, basically is what I can what you might have. I'm not sure what the East Coast version of everything is. Going back to it's interesting, LV, you say that in regards to going back to the office, because we had the option to go, and now we have closed our office and opened a space within one of these It's like rent a receptionist place. You're basically renting space, but you're sharing a receptionist and sharing the space with other people. You do have your own locked area that you can be in, but they're only going to be maybe 6 or 7 seats, you know, because most people do choose to work from home. If there is any reason that I have to go and work in the office, occasionally there are some cases where the information is just that sensitive that they do not want it leaving our space. Even though we have a protected server, you might have to go into the office. But you know, by and large, a lot of offices, I think, have gone to this kind of format. Jodella, I have heard something about this. I'm just going to put this up for a minute. The Pakistani grooming and the rape, gang rapes in the UK, a big cover up. I've heard some about this, and I've heard about some of the people who have been victims of the gangs, and it's real interesting. I mean, no offense to the UK, but they are well established when it comes to cover-ups. I think of Kincora in Ireland, the Elm House in the UK. I could name a few more. There's definitely a want to cover things up, smooth things over. Nothing to see here, folks. Let's look this way. And that's unfortunate. Oh, that's interesting, Christy. You have Myer, which are upscale stores in Australia. Yeah, this Myer is Meijer. Frederick Meyer. He started it. Started actually here in my town, and it's spread out to a lot of different places along the Midwest. All right, so we've talked about some of the positives, and as good as things are, what are some red flags? Are there things that we can look for? Is there any way to tell that we might be speaking to someone who's fake or disingenuous? Well, there's some things that you can look for. And any one thing is not going to be indicative, right? You do need to have several. But if these things pop up, that's where you might want to do a little bit more digging and being a little bit more careful about what exactly that you're giving out to this person, and bringing back. In regards to, well, Prince Edward, that's anything to do with the royal family they're going to cover up, or the elites. It's just the way it is. My opinion only, I think the UK is still very stratified. There's definitely a division between the working class and the elites there, and a tendency to cover up whatever is going on in the elite sector. And it's still unfortunate. I think, I hope with going forward that things will be different. I don't know that they will be any different under Charles. And I don't know a lot about the UK system other than you have Parliament, and you've got, basically two houses, kind of like we do. But so I'm not really sure in terms of, your prime minister change, if things are going to be any different nowadays. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, Cosmic, I think that this is, we certainly, I think initially when you connect with somebody or when you're talking to somebody, I am going to take them at face value. I am going to assume that what they're telling me is true. that they're a real person and that what they're telling me is exactly how they feel, right? I think it's, for me personally, I don't see any other way of approaching it. Now, some of it, and then some of this is not really as applicable is to, say, meeting people here on YouTube in live chats. It might be more applicable to meeting people on different social platforms. And, specifically there's, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, these types of formats. But even here on YouTube, look at their profile, and compare it to information that they've given you. Things that you can look for in their profile. When was it created? Do they have any personalized photos, or are they pretty much just stock photos? Do they have any information in their profile, or is it just as basic as it comes to be able to get, for here to get a channel up, to get a profile, up so that you can operate on YouTube or Instagram? Do they have very limited information? Are their photos all perfect? Nothing looks like it's real. It looks like it's all staged. Again, none of this is wholly indicative, but it can give you a clue as to whether this might be a fake or a real person. How they speak, okay, their grammar. And understand how I mean this. If they portray themselves as somebody who is a US native and has lived there, born and lived here all their life, and yet their grammar is extremely poor, the way they talk, their sentences just don't quite make sense, it's an inconsistency. And those are things that we want to look for as well. Inconsistencies in their stories, things that don't match up between their profile and them. AIs, for some reason, tend to have a little bit of this broken grammar too. And I see it not so much in grammar as I do the sentence just doesn't quite make sense. It's like they left a word out, or a word that should have gone here is actually over here. And that kind of clues me in that, well, this might not actually be a real person that I'm speaking to. Hi, Adrian. How are you? Nice to see you. Glad you're here this afternoon. Let's see, what else? If you're speaking to them one-on-one, are they avoiding personal questions? Do you ask them something and they deflect? They give you a half of a piece of information and then they start talking about something else. Does your communication seem very one-sided? That can be an indication of somebody who's not as genuine as they might first appear to be. Audrey, and I was speaking in terms of the written word. If you're looking at in terms of verbal, definitely this is true. AIs pronounce a lot of words incorrectly, and you'll look at it and go, wait a minute, So so it is a dead giveaway on a lot of places that have narration to their stories, that it's not the actual person. And these types of things that we're talking about in regards to red flags, let's say somebody you're speaking to, and initially their story to you is how hard things are, how difficult things are. Gosh, I wish I had some more money. And maybe they ask you for money, or maybe they're just hinting at money, but it comes very soon in the conversation. That could be an indicator that, well, maybe this person isn't really interested in talking to me. Maybe they're just interested in a financial gain of some sort. Speaking of which, at some point, I will throw up a Cash App stuff. And it is different, let me actually, I'm going to do this because I think this is a good time to talk about it. There you go. There's my banner for mine. So here's me. Here's me asking for money. Well, what am I asking for money for? I want to do some equipment improvements and just be able to pay the bills that go into making this channel. That's it. I'm not looking to get rich. I'm not looking to have this, even if I was lucky enough to be able to do this full time, it would be doing it full time so that I could do more research, bring you more content, and be more available to everybody. It's not going to be running a channel like this to be able to make a profit. I just don't see how that would happen. But B, I want to be able to support the channel, and that's pretty much it. And shout out to the people who have donated thus far. Thank you very much. They are appreciated. But I know that a lot of people can't, and that's okay. That's not why I'm here. If the money dried up, I'd still be here, right? I have been here for a year. Which reminds me, just quick side note, watch hours have started over again, made it to about 2,700 watch hours with our first year. Technically, it's not till the 4th, I consider, through January as my year, but because that's when I first went live. But I started the channel, I made the channel with YouTube in January 10th. And so that's why they that's why they started our watch hours over. So I think I have to get to either 2,000 or 3,000 watch hours before we can do super stickers. And of course, 4,000 for that ultimate monetization that will bring in maybe 50 cents, because there's only a certain amount of things that I'm willing to change, right? We'll use SA for sexual assault, CSA for child sexual assault, CP for child pornography. There are certain abbreviations that I will start using more often. Predators versus pedophiles, just trying to change it so that it's as YouTube friendly as possible, but still being able to talk about the content that we need to. And that's why I don't have great hopes that, the monetization will really do much of anything for this channel. But it's a goal. It's a neat goal. Just seeing it grow, seeing our channel grow, getting up to 500 so we can do those super stickers. I'm not focused on the number. The analytics aren't going to mean a whole lot to me. Because right now, most people who come here who aren't interested in the trauma, they click on a few cat videos that I have, the shorts, and then they're off. But it's not going to affect the content that I bring you. Other than if there are things that I definitely get watch hours on, I will focus more on that subject and go more in depth, because that does tell me that people were interested in that subject. So we'll do more of that. But especially my first year, there was a lot of things, a lot of ground I wanted to cover, and kind of just having all different subjects with this kind of laid out. And then my second year, to look at all those subjects and say, okay, let's dive deeper into those. And I didn't get through everything, but with doing this online relationships, I think it'll be pretty good. In terms of having a base, and then we can decide, where are we going to go more in depth. Christy, I think, as I said, I need 4,000 watch hours to go live and 1,000 subscribers, which we are at 338, I think, as of time I hit live, and 500 subs, and it's either 2,000 or 3,000 watch hours for the 500 in order to be able to do super stickers, and I'm not sure if there's anything else that the 500 gets. I haven't looked into it, all that much. Yeah, it starts over at 12 months, Shannon. So within a 12-month period, you have to hit each in order to get it. Now, I don't know, for those of you who are already monetized, do you have to hit 4,000 watch hours for the next 12 months, or does it get taken away? That I do not know. So you may have to keep hitting it every 12 months. I am unsure about that. Hi, Jimena, how you doing? But that's a question for you, ALV. Do you have to hit that 4,000 watch hours every year then? Whatever your 12-month year is. I just happened to start mine in January. So I'm just reading some of your comments here. Yeah, please like us. If you haven't hit the like button already, take a brief moment to click out of the chat and hit that like button. We end up usually with about a third of the likes of the views that we have. So definitely would love to get that up a little bit more. And if you haven't subscribed, I encourage you, please do. And make sure when you hit subscribe, go to that bell of notifications and click all. If you just click subscribe and you do want notifications of when I post content, you're going to have to go in and click that live. Otherwise, it puts it at personalized. And I don't know about you guys, but I have not personalized anything. It does turn into, for the rolling, yeah, easier to maintain, I bet. But okay, so you do need that 4,000, every year, every 12 months. Okay, it's just good information to have. That's all. What else do we have in terms of red flags? So this is a red flag in terms of looking at the person and deciding, is this somebody who I can connect with and on what level? If you have somebody okay, Crystal, get some sleep. I know you got work early in the morning. No worries. If you have somebody who is divulging, say, like their entire life story to you, they are dumping all of their trauma, directly on you, and are expecting basically support in regards to that, that may be more than you're able to handle. And that's okay. But you need to know that. You need to look at that. You need to decide for yourself, is this person, really codependent and they're looking for somebody else to glom onto? Some of us can be there for them and some of us can't. So you have to decide where your boundaries are in terms of how much emotional bandwidth do you have to give. We don't all have the same. And it's okay to set those limits. And it's okay to let that person know where your limits are. I have a list of resources that are in every video description. I started to branch out. I've got some Canadian ones listed there. I think I have one in the UK that I have listed. If any of you have other resources where people can go to get 24-hour support, where they can go to find other resources to look in for different countries. I mean, nowadays, of course, with with the internet, we can pretty much look up everybody. But if there is a particular resource in the country that you're in, if you want to email that to me, Surviving Together, SASS, I'd be happy to check it out and to look at it and potentially then put it in the resource description as well. Oh my gosh. Primo, that is awesome. I know who Ephraim is, and I know who Don Shipley is. I know both of those guys. That's incredible. Okay, if you have an email out there, you may be getting one from me just because I'm so interested in what you're doing, and the people that you know, and some of the things that I have gotten into in my private research, which I have not put up yet. I have a lot of research that I am doing in the true crime area, in rings, sexual slavery rings, and pedophile rings. I'm still deciding whether or not, it's probably be maybe a good community post thing to put up a poll as to whether or not to put that true crime just in a separate playlist, having it on a separate day when I talk about it, whether it's a video or whether I go live, or whether I do an entire separate channel. I am very sensitive to the population that I have here and those of you who I serve, because I do feel it true that it is I who serve you. It is an honor to be here for you. It is an honor that you come and actually listen to what I have to say. And if even commingling those two things in, say, just coming on a playlist is too much, I want to be sensitive to that. So that's why I haven't put out any content recently. And I've just been kind of building all the research and the videos behind the scenes right now. Uh, Energy vampires. Yes, exactly. And some are just because they need it. Some are because that is their personality. But we need to make sure that we are putting in our boundaries. When we start to have emotional connections, encourage you to keep these things on a public platform. Um, be very careful about giving out your phone number for texting or your personal email. Perhaps have an email that is set up just for speaking to new people. When I started dating, I had to do this. I have a separate phone number and email that I used for doing. I haven't done it in a while, but that I used for doing any of that. Now, having this channel now, it's pretty easy for people to find me if they really wanted to. But most people who I'm connecting with, probably on the dating world, aren't people who have already found me here or even know that I would have a channel. So it's easy to keep them, separated. Encourage you to do that, because then, even though it's like, oh, people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. They can have my phone. I hear this a lot from the younger generations. It doesn't matter if they have my phone number, if they have my email, I can just block them. And, then they can't get to me anymore. Well, while that's true, they can also be creating new numbers and new emails to be able to, keep going at you. I personally, if that was to happen, don't want it blowing up my regular phone. So that's why there are very few people who have my actual phone number. Well, I consider my actual phone number, right? So be careful about that. And privacy settings. This isn't something I get into a whole lot, but you know, say Instagram or Facebook, do you have your privacy settings set to private, or are you available to anybody who is a friend, or friends of friends can get on your Facebook page and can find you? Keeping that contact circle as small as possible, I think, is a good thing. Then you can choose who outside that circle gets access to it. But everybody and their mother doesn't already have access to it. But because of that, because people aren't necessarily careful in terms of the privacy settings, I do encourage you to do your own detective work. If you're concerned about somebody who is connected to you, If you are on a different platform, check them out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with vetting somebody. If you are having an emotional connection with somebody, and if you are having a friendship, let's take it from you're going from here over to Facebook Messenger or Discord or giving them a private number so that you guys can text. There's nothing wrong with asking for a picture or asking for the first call to be a video call to confirm that that person is real. We call it proof of life, right? So when I was online dating, when I decided to go off the platform of wherever I met them and I was going to talk to them, I said, I need you to, I'm willing to do that. However, the first thing I need you to do is send me a selfie holding up 4 fingers like this. And I'd be willing to send the first one. You know, this is what I'm asking you to do. If A, they're not willing and they put up a fuss and they'll say one of 2 things. Oh, I don't look good right now or whatever. I'll do it later. Okay, well, let me know when you're ready to send a selfie, and then I will tell you what I would like you to do. Because I have had it before where I've asked somebody to do that, and they have sent me a picture back later with 4 fingers, but it wasn't the way I wanted it. And I didn't know if they pulled up a stock figure, if they were, searching whoever's Instagram they had used to get pictures to put on here. I didn't know if they were frantically, looking through to see if there's something that they could use. So whatever you do, you want to ask them to do something that is going to be unique. That if they are using a fake profile, they're using pictures from somebody else, it's not going to be something they're going to be able to find easily. Like putting up 2 fingers or touching your head, because they could send a picture where somebody's, just leaning and touching. Well, I'm still touching my head, why do I have to do it exactly the way you want it? Well, because that shows me that you're alive, right? Or they will just go through the roof being, I don't have time for this. I don't want to jump through hoops. I've been doing this for ages. You don't want to believe that I'm real. That's fine. It's up to you. And they will get very indignant. And if that happens, goodbye. I don't have time to argue with you. I've done this before. I've been down the arguing road. I did it twice, actually. Like, followed the arguing, and it was the same thing. And that actually just told me it was an AI who was doing it. It was a bot. There was no real person behind that. So there's nothing wrong with verifying somebody is who they say they are. If you know somebody who knows this person, or somebody connected you to this person, go to that mutual friend. How much have you talked to them? How well do you know this person? What do you think of them? Get the skinny. It is okay. We have to protect ourselves. And there's only, there's only a few ways that we can do that. Depending on how much you're looking at vetting somebody, I've asked somebody to hold up a driver's license before. Cover up your driver's license number, cover up your birthday. I'm okay with that. But just have it be so that I can see the name and I can see your picture. And that it's the driver's license from the state of Ohio or whatever the state is, right? I'm not looking to steal your personal information, but I am looking for some verification that you are who you say they are. In general, when I ask that, I'm usually asking it in person because I've verified, through the 4-finger method. I've done that on text, right? We've gotten that far. And if I go to meet them, I'll ask for a driver's license. Can I see your driver's license? I just want to know you are who you say you are. And there are some people who are hiding behind the anonymity of whatever platform they're on. And they don't want to use their real name for maybe personal reasons, and it has nothing to do with you. And they don't want to show their picture. If that's the case, it is going to be up to you to try to verify who they are through different means. You can look at their profile. Again, do they have any information in their profile? Does it sound like a genuine profile? Do you guys have anybody in common who maybe has spoken with this person or knows this person a little bit more? Beyond that, if that is the case, allow the connection to grow organically and over time. And I say that knowing that, particularly when it comes to people in the mental health field, when it comes to people who are trauma survivors of different types of traumas, we have a tendency to connect quickly and connect deeply. And that just seems to be part and parcel of us being like this, right? Knowing that there's somebody else who gets us. You can talk at such a level that you can't with somebody else. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you do need to still have your eyes and ears open. Be listening to the things that they tell you. Are there inconsistencies in the stories that they tell you? They have kids, they don't have kids. They're from here originally, they're from there originally. Hey, Barb, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad you stopped in. No worries. You can go back to the beginning afterwards. I've been half looking at the photos. I've been half looking at the chat as I've been speaking. Just a lot of information I wanted to get out for you guys and not squirrel off too much. So I do need to go back here. I still have a little bit more to speak about with, protecting ourselves, things that we can do, as individuals. Maybe I'm not as far back as I think. Yeah, Christy, I'm with you. I have so much going on and things that I'm doing. I can't even remember the last time I was out on a date, and I haven't been on the dating apps. I actually clicked on one of the dating apps last week. You don't even want to know what the person said. I mean, literally almost the first things out of their mouth. It's like, God, really? You just solidified my decision to not be on these in a while. Yeah, Shannon, is so that you made a mistake of using first and last name on YouTube at the beginning. I did the same thing. And actually, I did as I started the channel, right? And had I had to do over, I might just start as Mac. Maybe eventually I'll get around to redoing my first videos, my story videos, and edit my name out of there. But it is what it is. My face is here. I've spoken about enough of myself in my lives that at this point I feel like it's nothing that I can take back. And if somebody's going to do that kind of research, they would have found me anyway, right? So we'll just have to see what happens, with this, and hopefully hopefully it goes well. That's, I can say, hopefully it just goes well. Yeah, Joy, I do want to put this up only because, a lot of times I will say men, and we do make a point here of saying that men and women can be predators. However, statistically speaking, the large majority, and we're talking over 85%, I think, are male. So I don't think there is anything sexist with saying that women in particular need to be careful. It's not to say that guys don't need to be careful of predator guys, and that is true as well. However, when you do look at the statistics, overwhelmingly, it is still heterosexual attacks. So it's just a fact of a matter right now. We all need to be careful. And, you know, men and women can be predators, men and women can be victims. But we as women do have a particular vulnerability, I think, in general, just given the statistics. There you go, Jimena. Katum, coffin sealed, nail, final nail pulled in. Yeah, I see you, Primo. Have a good one. I will definitely be checking out your channel and checking out some of your content because I'm very interested in the things that you've had to say and some of the things that might be up there. Jodi Arias, yes, very interesting woman. There are some others that are just way out there. Yeah, if we want to talk about scams, if we want to go into the online dating world, you know, we spoke a little bit about this on Tuesday, the amount of men who get scammed financially because they are looking to date is huge. And it's one of the things when I speak to people who are dating online, the men, I speak to them about what's your experience like versus what my experience is like. And almost to a one, they will all say women just asking for money right up front, saying they want to be friends online only, or looking to sell pictures, or you know, have them go over to their OnlyFans page or something like that. For women, it seems to be it's a lot of bots, it's a lot of fake profiles, and it's a lot of, hey, send me a picture type of thing. It's getting something for nothing. You know, I want to see what I'm getting into. I want to see the goods. And I'm like, okay, that implies something totally else than dating, right? But, you know, it can happen. So there's different ways that the scammers, you know, can get you in regards to that. But definitely, you know, we talked about vetting, we talked about paying attention to the details, what people are saying. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. And this can be for if you feel that someone's not a real person and that, you know, the person you're speaking to is not who they say they are. The picture they present is not who they actually are, or that somebody is just using an AI or a bot or something. Right? That's what I'm talking about in terms of not saying who they are. Then there can be the people who present themselves as one thing, but they're actually another. And that's when they've got their mask on. And be careful of the sob story. And it's not to say that it's not true. Each and every one of us who is a survivor has a sob story that we could give. But are you putting that sob story out there for a particular reason? Is that person trying to get money? Are they talking to you and want hours upon hours upon hours of your time? That's an indication of either one, this person is an attention seeker or has needs beyond what I can give. And that's when I refer them to the resources, that I have listed. Excuse me. But pay attention to those instincts. If something says that you need to pull back emotionally, maybe take a look at this relationship from a further lens. If it's a case where you need to relook at your boundaries, have they been crossed? Has the person consistently crossed your boundaries? Did you make those boundaries clear to somebody? Because remember, somebody can't intentionally cross a boundary that they don't know exists. So it is up to us to let people know where our boundaries are. Guessing is no good. I also want to speak about this in terms of content creators. There definitely can be, depending on the person, an idolization of a content creator. That person is just the end all and be all. Whether it is coming from a mental health standpoint, whether it is coming from, say, a hobby, and you see this person as just, wow. Let's just take skateboarding, Tony Hawk, right? He is one of the ultimates in skateboarding from long ago. I know there's others that have come up behind him now, but it's what I know. So it's a separate, type of hobby subject, and you just idolize that person. And they may be the expert in what they're talking about. Does that make them a good person? Does that make them a person that we should connect to emotionally? We have to still be aware of all of these things. Oftentimes, that's going to be a one-way relationship between us and the content creator. Now, depending on what your situation, it could be what feels like a two-way relationship. You could have talks offline. We still need to protect ourselves in the exact same manner. And so I just encourage you, when you look at how you see a content creator, you can be in awe of them for what they've done, for their expertise, for who they've become, for the trauma that they've lived through. But you still need to put all of these things that we've been talking about in place. You still need to be looking for red flags. Because again, is that person masking? Is what they're presenting to you their real self? A lot of people have personas, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's something wrong with being a content creator and coming out and having a persona. But if you believe that it's up to us as people who might be establishing that connection with, it is up to us to protect ourselves, protect our emotions, to realize, is this a persona that they're putting on because of their channel? The same vein, there is nothing wrong with accepting money as a content creator. A lot of people are in this to make money. Capitalism in and of itself is not a dirty word. Again, my opinion. Blow drill, I think you are a content creator if you come out here and you put something out. I call content creators, I know like Tommy Stiggs will say, I'm not a content creator because I don't really put out content. Well, yeah, you do. The content you have is social club. You put the social club out there, and whatever comes, right? You may not prep, but you still got your bullet points. You still got things that you'll talk about occasionally. You're a content creator. You have a channel out here for a purpose, for a reason. You come on with a purpose. I consider that content creation. So yes, even if you don't give money, I think that you're a content creator. And so that's where I'm looking at it. Whether you want to say content creators or just calling it channel creators, it's an easy way for me to distinguish between the people in the chat versus the people who are behind the camera. And again, because somebody comes out, has a persona, and puts that out and is asking for views, is asking for subs, or whatever the case is on Instagram, if it's just, I don't know how you make the money there, but if it's putting out the views or putting out the videos and getting all the clicks and the likes and whatever, if that's their goal, bully for them. Okay, that is fine. For those of you who are non-US people, if I'm using bully in the wrong context, I'm sorry. That's how I do it. We need to be aware, right? We need to have our eyes open and know that this is a content creator. They're pretending to be, let's say they're pretending to be a Barbie, because there's a girl out there who's just like that, who wants to be Barbie, and she's had all the plastic surgery done, and she does her makeup, just like it, and, has more to do. And her goal is to make money. This is, okay, that's fine. And if you choose to donate, that's fine too. That's up to you. We just need to be careful. Anybody who you feel you might be giving too much emotionally or too much, say, financially, I think you need to just take a step back and assess that situation. And this goes for real life friendships, right? Or offline friendships as well. Because any of our relationships evolve in different ways over time. And what served a purpose at one point in time might not be serving a purpose later on. We may have changed. We may need to reassess where our boundaries are with that person. And we've spoken about this before in terms of just looking at the people around us, and do I need to cut out anybody toxic in my life? Hi, Echo. I did speak at the very beginning about going live on you at the 25th. Could somebody drop her link again? Living My Best Life at 60. So January 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Correct me if I get that wrong. I will be on with Living My Best Life at 60. Her name is Echo. So I will be on Echo's channel talking about whatever we want to talk about, whatever she wants me to talk about. My story, how I got involved with trauma, how I got involved with the YouTube community. Be doing any of it. Thank you, Shannon. See, I do believe that'll be the 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So just a couple hours after I finish my Saturday live on the 25th, which I do not have anything set up. If you notice, there were no thumbnails after today. Hadn't set anything up. I'm still kind of debating about things that I'm going to talk about. So if there's anything that you want to see me talk about fairly soon, let's say in the month of January, please put them in the comments. If it's something that's more personal, you don't feel comfortable putting it in a comment, go ahead and send me an email, survivingtogethersass@gmail.com. Oh, good. 25th at 7. Got it right. Woo, woo. Let's see. What else do I have to say about any of? I think that's pretty much it about what I had for making sure that we protect ourselves. Yes, grifting is very real, and a lot of people, do. I've heard so. Excuse me. Hang on. I've also heard about it called sad fishing, where someone's just putting out their sad story, or talking about just how hard things are, and just um, without actually asking for the money, trying to get people to donate and feel sorry for them because of that. So I think that's just a form of grifting, personally. I put them in the same category. But again, I don't think that there is anything wrong with a content creator asking you for money, as long as they're doing it in the right context. You know, people donate to other people's channels all the time, whether it is to support them, whether there's a project they've got going on behind the scenes that they're trying to finance. You could do that. Um, you know, Here I ask for donations simply because I try to defray the cost of what it costs me to do the channel. You know, that's it. And to do some equipment upgrades so that I feel that I'm, in a good place, that I could have a little bit better video quality for you guys, and to take it to the next level. That's what I'm looking for. So, I mean, if I was able to take in $100 a month, that'd be great. I'm still going to be here, though, if there isn't the donations. That's just fact of the matter. So do be careful. And I do believe it is up to us, because people aren't always going to be honest in what their intentions are, in terms of who they are. And sometimes, even when they are, that person may not be the best person for us in our life at that particular time. They may need too much energy, more than we can give. And you just have to be honest with yourself that this is more than I can give at this moment. It's not that you're a horrible person. It's not that they have said anything wrong. It's just that for me personally, I have to set a boundary, as this is the amount of bandwidth I have to give for my emotions for people outside of my family. I'm not a therapist. I don't pretend to be. I don't think it's my job to step into that role for you. I certainly listen. I listen as much as I can, and I will help in whatever capacity I can. But I also know that I have to have my limits. My best friends, yeah, as you have this emotional connection, and as you deepen up emotional connection, we can act as each other's therapists in a way, in terms of just talking to each other and bouncing things off of each other. And that's totally fine. It's just when the expectation feels like the only reason that they are talking to you is because they need to consistently dump their problems on you, that's when that becomes a concern for me. And it may be more than you can handle. So I have a rule about people who I speak to, who I get involved with offline. And I'm saying this is beyond people who are just emailing me through Surviving Together, okay? If I'm going to take it off of that, if I'm going to give you a personal email, or if I'm going to give you my number, if I'm going off there, I trust that they are who they say they are, but I verify. Trust but verify. All right? I will trust you as long as the information stays consistent. As long as you have done what Blow Drill, I didn't even say hi to you. Hi. This is definitely not a space for you. Why is that? I'm just curious. If you could tell me before you leave. And maybe you've already gone. I didn't see most of what she had to say. Well, that's too bad. Listen, I'm not going to be for everybody. Nobody can, right? This is not generic content, and I understand that. I'd be very interested to see why this wasn't for her, only because I'm just wondering what nerve I touched. Um, and it may be something actually that I could do something about, and maybe not. Um, there's only going to be so much that there's only so much wiggle room that I do have to change. But if I was not sensitive enough to, if I wasn't sensitive enough to somebody, then I definitely want to uh, know that, um, because perhaps there is a way that I can approach something in the future, that is a little bit more sensitive, and I will do my best to do that. So it's a tough subject, it's I'm just kind of going back to the chat. It's a tough subject to talk about. It's a tough subject to deal with. This online community, I'm sorry, I'm just reading. If anybody runs into Hi Chris, how you doing? If anybody happens to run into Blow Drill in another live, I'd be interested in speaking with her. Um, email's fine. Just because I have a feeling, and hopefully you're still listening. It's possible, yes, possible she's having a bad day, but I don't want people to feel like in coming into this, if you're in a place, if you're in a bad place, and you're coming here for connection, to have people listen to you, that is totally fine. And if every time you come in here, you have nothing but negative because that's what's in your life, that's okay. When I say you have somebody who has, nothing good to say and is always dumping on you, I'm speaking about a one-on-one connection that you've made with that person, where you are emailing that person, texting that person, you've made some sort of one-on-one connection. I don't look at my chat and me so much as a one-on-one connection. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about off live. Okay. There are still emotional connections that we can make through this. We can certainly assist, send positive vibes to you. If you're in a place where you find yourself coming here time and time again with nothing but negative stuff that's going on in your life, we can be here for you. I may not be able to off channel. I may not be able to be that person who's there for you all the time because of the amount of interaction, the amount of connection that you need. I couldn't be that one person. Maybe you can get it from me and, a whole set of others. Does what I'm saying make sense, or am I confusing everybody? Making sense to you, Cosmic? Okay, cool. Yeah. I just want to be clear that I do not want anyone to feel like they can't come in here because they're not in a positive place. If you come in here because you consistently need support, we're here for you. We are 100% here for you. So if that's where you are, and if your connection is through here to be able to reach out, especially if you're in isolation, please do. We will support you. And there will be, yes, an emotional connection established between some people. And I say that as maybe it's better to say we all connect, right? I think once you're in here and we start speaking to each other, we're going to all connect. Whether you develop that emotional connection with somebody, that's where I feel like there's a one-on-one. Let's say I wasn't here, some other content creator was talking, and I was in here, and Cosmic, I was talking to you, and we started talking in the chat, and I started feeling we're 100%. We're 100%. And I'm really connecting with you. We may establish an emotional connection that way, but it may never leave that chat. For me, I have that amount of emotional bandwidth for you within that chat. I 100% do. I know personally, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to take on people as a therapist, to speak for 5-6 hours a day to somebody. I don't have the kind of time in general. And to me, that harkens of something more. And being honest with everybody. I won't pretend. I will give you whatever I can of myself, however, and I will point you in whatever direction I can to get additional resources to help as well. So Blow Drill, if you're still listening, I hope you give us a chance, or at least, send me a message and let me know kind of what that is. Who said Jen Marie? Jen Marie is here? Where? There she is. Oh my gosh. Hey girl, how you doing? I think maybe I met Blow Drill in T's live, one of T's lives. That's possible. She is from Perth. T is from Perth, and I've listened to a few lives that they had. So thank you for that message, Amena. I kind of dinged a bell as to where I might have seen her before. Some people came in and I missed. Cheryl, good day to you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. And yeah, there are some channels you may go in and think, this is a really nice channel. It's just not for me. And maybe the people were really nice too. And for whatever reason, it's just not for you. And that's possible too. I take it as a learning experience. Is there anything I could have done differently? Was my message getting across the way I meant it? And as long as I'm doing that, that's the best that I can do. And that's why, a channel like this, I don't even dream would ever have something like 1 million subscribers. It's just not the content, If I was, just making shorts, maybe, that's not what I want to do. I do want to make more shorts, that's for sure. But again, that's part and parcel of business plan that I'm putting together. I say business plan, but just plan as to how I need to do things. Otherwise, I won't get anything else done other than these lives. Sometimes somebody may have some realizations they aren't ready for. That's true too. Cosmic, I still owe you a longer email, by the way, but I hope you got the email that I actually sent you. So I hope you did at least connect with that. Let's see if there's anything else. You know, and sometimes we can get into a live and it's just not our day. And it's true. And 100%, I always say, take care of yourself. All right. If anything is triggering you, if your anxiety is increasing, even if you don't know why, step away. Step away. Catch me on replay. Or just say, you know what, that one just wasn't for me. I just can't do it. And that's okay. You know, I had somebody message me the other day that said, you know, I subbed to your channel and I'm going to check some things out, but I couldn't watch your story. That's all right. It's okay. All you need to know is I'm a survivor. You know, I'm a trauma survivor of SA and some other trauma. And that's where I come from. So you don't have to know the particulars. And if they're triggering for you, don't do it. Don't watch it. Barbie, yes, Jen Marie, I know she says she has her channel on Twitter. I do not. I I have not gotten into Twitter or Instagram or, you know, I've somewhat of a presence, not surviving together, but me personally, professionally on LinkedIn. I am looking to get into LinkedIn a little bit more with Surviving Together to make a few more connections with people, but they're really just going to be professional connections. I don't look at it as gaining, you know, avenues to gain subs. It's avenues to gain access to people who are doing similar things or in different ways. And I think that just exposure to each other then can help. If I come across somebody who I really feel strongly about in terms of their work, you know, that I might have them on, or just might take 5-10 minutes to, you know, promote what they're doing. But I won't say I don't have the time. I don't have the energy right now to learn how to do that. Nor do I have the desire right now to be posting on various platforms. If somebody wanted to do that for me and wanted to post this, wanted to take like a community post or a short, you know, that I'd make it and post it across different platforms to get the word out that way, or just, you know, just, hey, here's our next live or whatever. Happy to work with you. But personally, I'm doing all I can to get an outro done, and, you know, to change some things with the channel and to figure out what my next live is going to be about. And then still actually, you know, working 40 hours a week to earn some money and pay the bills. So that's kind of where I have, where I've gotten. Yeah, I think it does depend, you know, on your content. I mean, some more generic content, I think, lends itself really easily to being posted across, you know, all the major platforms and promoting yourself that way. And I know that if you want to get really big, that you really have to be putting yourself out on other platforms. This channel has been growing, and it's been growing organically. And as much as there's a piece of me that wants to grow now, I know that growing organically is better for us. Because if I was all of a sudden to double my subscribers overnight and we were to have even 50 people in the chat, it would throw me off. I'm lucky if I get 20 people in the chat. I don't even know if I've hit 20 before. I hit 18 once. Because of the topic that I do. I want to be able to connect with people. I want them to know me. I want to know about you. I want to be looking at the chat. I want to be seeing what you're talking about as people share little tidbits of themselves. I want to know that Audrey's having a hard time finding a place to get a cat. I want to know what's going on in her life. And so some of these other lives that I go in where they're smaller groups as well, and I'm learning bits and pieces about them. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Glad that you joined us. How are things going? I asked that as a generic question, and you can put up as personal or as generic as you want. I feel like my skin looks oily, but it's not to the touch. I think it's just the sheen, the way this is coming. Sorry, I'm sitting on everything. Yeah, Jen Marie is definitely made of some strength stuff, and she can handle Elon. She can handle Twitter pretty well. I would definitely have her taking over my my social if I could, but I don't have any money to pay her. See, for me, with a monetary thing, if I had money where I could pay people to edit videos, I would probably put out more because it takes me hours upon hours upon hours. People in general, we all have things that we're doing, and they only have so much time or energy to commit to volunteering for something. So anyone who does stuff for this channel, I do want to pay, even if it seems like a token payment. I do want to give you something. And so that is also why my goal is in 2025, probably by the end of the first quarter, to have set it up as a company, so that anything that is coming in or is going out is directly for the channel. And so things could be seen that way. Also, just a way of me being able to keep track of things. But because I want these donations to be going to the channel and to be keeping for the channel only, it's going to be my best way of separating things. There's a possibility, as I look to the future, like 5-10 years down the road future, I'm talking about, if I do go to something like being able to establish a SaaS foundation, I might be able to make Surviving Together into a 501c, into a nonprofit. So that's, a little bit down the road. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see where things end up going. Hi, Don. How are you? Starting to get my Australia crew here. That's awesome. Twitter, X. Yeah, I can't do it. I feel like everything's gotten renamed. That's why I joked with my best friend David. I said, you don't like besties. We need to come up with something else. That's why we'll be like, the people formerly known as besties. That's why we need a symbol. He needs to create some sort of graphic for us that encapsulates what we are. So we will be the people formerly known as besties. And we'll be able to just put up that. We'll have shirts made or something. I love it. So that's it is. It's the platform formerly known as Twitter, to me. So what's going on with everybody? It's about as much as I have on the actual topic that I was talking about. I am concerned about the wildfires in California. It is certainly something huge that's going on, and I know the fires are in areas now, more populated areas, so it's definitely a concern. And I don't really know many people. Here we go. We're gonna do this. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's smaller. Oh, Adrian, you're in the UK. Oh, okay, got it. Jen, you've got a lot of friends over there. Yeah. Best wishes to them. Well, Mark, you would hope that they would be alibis. I mean, truly. I rely on my best friend to tell me the truth for certain, right? But if I complain about somebody else, they are certainly to take my side first. Then they can tell me if I'm wrong. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's right. Elon in South Africa. I didn't even think about that, DeAudrey. I didn't even put that together. Aw, thanks, Jen Marie. See, that's the ultimate. She'd hide a body with me. You gotta, who does that? I know the Dixie Chicks did one, and people were like, all about that. But then somebody else did one recently. Um, I'm going to say within the last 5 years, a country song. They were hiding in the body. Three friends, three best friends, and I think they killed each other's husbands or something like that, and then set it up. Not a laughing matter, but guys, you can't take everything serious, right? And I have mixed feelings about Taylor Swift did one. Okay, let me throw this out to you. Disney, all right, Disney World. How do you feel about their efforts to take out anything that is racist, sexist, offensive to any particular group? So I found out that they changed. Yes, Goodbye Earl, the Dixie Chicks. I love that one. Um, is murder a laughing matter? No, but we make fun about things that hurt the most. We can't have everything be serious. If we touch nothing, there is sarcasm for a reason, I think, in our world. There is, oh crapola, what's the word I'm looking for? Satire for a reason. I think when we take everything, every single subject seriously and say, you can't make fun of that, you can't turn that on its head at all. For me, I think we have gone way too far. I was like left, right, whatever. I think we've just gone way too far in that regard. So Disney, Pirates of the Caribbean, they took out the woman who was being sold on the auction block. What else did they take out from that one? I forget. But they changed Splash Mountain into whatever it was, because Splash Mountain was based on Brer Rabbit and the whole song. And so they had people who were Black acting as the servants. So they took that out, and changed it over and did something, totally different with it. Hang on a second. My son is calling. I just need to see. Let me just make sure he doesn't need something. Send, that would help. Okay. Barbara, I think this is right. Before I answer that, I think that there is nothing wrong with updating things to say, appeal to the current generation. It's revisionist history when we're trying to change things that we've done in the past to basically erase. I think Disney can be, listen, we put out in the past, which by we, it's whoever was in charge then, it's not us. This is what was put out in the past because this is where we were. We're no longer that, but that doesn't mean they have to make what used to be not for sale anymore, or what used to be, to change it and republish it. I think there's a definite danger when it comes to revisionist history that way. Barb says, I think we need to be careful about how far we go. We're afraid to laugh or speak without worrying we've said the wrong thing. Exactly. I know that I'm not always going to be saying the right things to somebody. I know that if somebody comes in here from a different world, by that I mean not the trauma world, not coming from a place of coming in here for mental health as the primary, they may make a comment and it may not seem to us to be sensitive. Did they mean to be insensitive? Maybe, but maybe not. If they come in here with a comment like that, I want to explore it. That's the person I want to talk with the most, because maybe they're coming from a place of just ignorance, naivety, and they need to be educated. They're coming from that stance because of how they grew up, their culture, whatever. Well, let's talk about that, because sometimes there are pluses and minuses from it. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe I'll learn something. So there is value in engaging people who have different views than you do. Yes, at some point, do we need to cut it off and say, okay, well, this is where I draw the line. This is where I draw the line at toxicity. This is where I draw the line at meanness. Yes, absolutely. But if we don't listen to contrary opinions, if we can't express contrary opinions, what kind of a world are we living in? I think that you only need to look at history to find your answer. Hang on one sec. My son was handling something for me because there was an issue here that just got way out of hand. Yeah, Mark, I think places, fun theme parks, entertainment, in general, films, music, whatever. Hey, Misha, how you doing? I did send you an email, Misha. Um, I think they reflect the times, period. And that's why things change because we're in a different place. We understand things differently, hopefully better, and things can change. But to me, and again, this is my just personal opinion, I don't see how outlawing anything that has gone previous, um, and I say anything with a grain of salt because somebody could come up with an example and I'd probably say, oh yeah, you're right. No, that should be banned or whatever. I don't know, but you know, banning books, banning, I'm very much a proponent of free speech, even if I don't like it. I don't like the neo-Nazis. Mark, you just reminded me of it. Sorry. I don't like what they have to say. But they still need to be free to be able to say what they say. Because the same thing could happen to me. Somebody could come along and say, you know what you're saying isn't good. We need to be able to censor you because we believe that you're taking the wrong stance. It is a slippery slope when you start curbing free speech and when you start engaging in revisionist history. If we don't understand our history, we are bound to repeat it. If we look at things that historically have come before us and we look to change them to what our mores are now, we're not going to really be able to learn from that history. So it's a difficult situation, I mean, of course, some people will come up with a situation and I'll be like, well, yeah, of course I wouldn't, agree to that, or I would see why you would ban that or whatever. So again, take my alls and everys, with a grain of salt. I couldn't watch The Clockwork Orange. I couldn't. I tried. I know it's an Oscar-winning performance. I know that Jack Nicholson, I do believe, from what I've heard from his own mouth, that he was higher than a kite during the entire filming. And that partially even on coke, I think, that got him in the role. But I just couldn't. It was too triggering for me. I couldn't watch it. Yeah, it's true. We can't change history. We can only learn from it. And if we try to change what it is, we can't learn. We are more alike than we are different. I think you're absolutely right there, Cosmic, and Jen, who reiterated that. Okay, see, this is one thing, and because Jen and I talk about, you should see Jen and I's conversations. We'll be talking about the same thing. We will be coming from the same place, but you listen to us and you would think we're fighting, and we're not. We just both have different things to say on the matter. And it's amazing because then when you put both of our conversations together, wow, what a complete picture that just drew. The Cosmic said, I had a passionate but loving conversation with somebody the other night and ended up, we were both on the same page, but coming from different corners. But we knew we could talk it out with respect. And I think this is incredibly important. There are times when, I'll just use my son as an example. We may be on the same page, but the way we talk about it is so different. He does not understand where I'm coming from. He doesn't understand what I'm saying, that what I'm saying is the same thing he is. And it will take somebody who gets both of it sometimes to be able to interpret. I've had some friends of his like that they're just hilarious because we'll be arguing about something. And one time his friend goes up and goes, Kieran, Your mom's saying blah, 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 blah. And he's like, really? Wow. And he looked to me and he goes, your son was saying da 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 da. And I was like, that's what he was trying to say? Really? It just the words that we used and how we talked about it were just so different, you know? So you're working on a new video and song? Oh, that's great, Echo. That's great. We can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see what comes out. Hang on, I'm behind. Hi, Lacey. How are you doing today? Nice to see you. Hope things are going okay. Hope you are warm wherever you are, because goodness knows, I think we're getting more snow here. Mock, I would love it if you would email me the name of that movie. Because I've seen some satire that has really made me think when you're looking about some of the things that are going on in our world right now. And are we going back into that in a way that you're seeing in some countries? And I'm including the US in that, possibly, depending on, restrictions that have been put in place, restrictions that might be lifted. It's real interesting. There's definitely something that can be always learned from looking at what has gone before. Mish, did you say something and I totally missed it? You said this morning we had a live. Who had a live, Misha, this morning? Who was talking about this on the live? I would be interested to know. Yeah, if you listen to Jen and I talk sometimes when we get together, you would think we're the most mean, evil people or whatever, but we are totally sarcastic. I mean, like the entire conversation is sarcasm. Just the way it is. I'm not getting whose live you were on. Ned, 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 poke, 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 poke. Ned, who had a live this morning? You are Brett, but you're a Brett I love. You're a Brett who needs to turn her car this way too. Just saying. So doing that because it reminded me. So David was telling me, asking me to remind him to sub to the channel, and he said that I said something. I was like, well, something. You remind me to do it. So I said something. He's like, ugh, you can do better than that. So I had to come up with more increasingly ways to poke at him to make it funny. Anyway, exactly. See, poke. That was exactly what I was doing, and I was talking about it. Oh, Misha, it was your own live. God darn it all! All right. I am ready. As soon as I get out of here, I got to check my note. I didn't get any notification again. My notifications on yours must not be set. Here's my tag from this morning. I could have sworn that I changed it. But I have done this in the past. I've changed my notifications to all, and it's gone back before. So I'll check it again. Because I would have loved to have known about that. Oops. Typing some bad things in there. Just from my elbow, it was typing gobbledygook in there. I didn't want that to get sent to you guys. Okay. Yeah, it was your live. Oh, I see. And I see how you, Cosmic, was talking. I'm going to have to watch that on replay too, Barb. Yeah, I was just about to say that same thing. Very interested. Cosmic is someone I want to have on this channel. We've started a conversation, and I'd love to have her on here. And it's just a matter of what we're going to discuss, because there are so many different things that we could discuss. Oh, Jen, you can just listen from the beginning if you want. We literally, this was just going over about, how to protect ourselves and, making connections. It's great. And I want to, let me end this with talking about the positives again. I am not saying that establishing an emotional connection with somebody you meet on here is bad. It can be so rewarding to you and to the other person. It can be empowering to get that support, to have somebody else know that somebody else believes in us, can see something good, that we get the support that we don't have anywhere else. We can talk to people on a subject and they get it. They get how hard it is. They get where we're coming from. All of that is fabulous. There are dangers of getting pulled in to either somebody who's not who they say they are, whether it's because they've literally put up a fake facade, like fake pictures or things like that, or they have a mask on, right? They're masking and they're feeding you some sort of story. Or they're 100% genuine, but you need to set some boundaries in regards to it. And usually this happens when it goes offline, right? If it goes to a different platform, and I'm talking about just YouTube right now, going then to a different platform to talk. So you take it out of the chat and you decide that you're going to talk somewhere else. And somewhere where somebody has ability to contact you more, right? Because here in the chat, you only have the time to chat that I'm live, and that's it. And then you're just connected from each other, unless you have some other way to contact them. And so it's moving it off that and having that person having the ability to contact you. If they need more energy and emotion than you have bandwidth for, that's where you have to set your boundaries. That's also usually where things will happen, where you will see more about whether this person is a real living, breathing person or an AI or a bot, or how much do they mask when they're in the chat. And sometimes people mask when they're in the chat for valid reasons, because they don't want to be that vulnerable. And I get that, and I understand that. And I'm not going to ever tell anybody you can't put your mask on. There's certain masks that we wear every day that help us get through. All I'm saying is just be careful, be aware of who you're talking to, how you're talking to them, and the toll it takes on you. If all of that is positive, great. If you've got some nigglings otherwise, look at it. Look more careful at it and set your boundaries. But the connections we make through here can be just fabulous. The confidence that I have seen some people grow with from having nothing to months later being able to put their own channels up. This chat, these connections can be vital for people. And I know they were for me when I first started. And I have met some wonderful, wonderful friends, offline friends that I've had since the beginning of me being on here. And I hope everybody can make that type of connection. So having connection in general, or emotionally connecting with one person, it can all be very positive. So don't think that you can't be. Oh, bad spelling, bad grammar, we don't care. Well, bad grammar, we've looked at, but no. We have a lovely friend of ours, Rick Spicer, who is the king of misspelling and caps and lower caps interspiced, and we love him. We love him to death anyway. So, hi, Polly. How you doing? Big hugs to you. Glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. I hope things are doing well for you over there. I don't know how is these. I guess I was just guessing. Polly, are you on the East Coast? I thought you were. We might be getting some more lake effect snow. Jen, I don't think it's going to reach you. Wait, I missed something. Oh, the movie that she was talking. Yes. I do believe I have heard about that. Geaudrey, don't feel bad. I am too. My mouth is on its best behavior when I'm on here. But you just need to ask some others as to how, I mean, particularly, you can ask Jen. And my sense of humor can be very dark at times as well. And that's how I deal with things occasionally. So, yeah. Do you want to call that a mask? I don't know. I guess maybe it's just me on my best behavior, and what I choose to show you of me is more of my empathetic and compassionate side versus you guys get a little bit of it on Laugh Saturdays, but definitely not as raunchy or anything as I might be if it was in person and we were joking around. Cosmic, you're king of the puns. Oh my gosh, you and Dave will definitely get along. He is definitely king of the puns. He's good at it. He's quick too. That's because we see something different in you, Jen. If you don't mind, I'm going to put this comment up because I think it's important. Because I feel like I'm an imposter when everyone says I'm strong. I don't always feel strong. You know what? None of us do. I don't think there's a single survivor who I've spoken to who says, yes, I feel strong, unless they are in a really good place, like have climbed their mountain, they're at the top, they're making their money in whatever it is that they're doing, and they've got a positive love life and good friends. Those people I've heard, yes, I know I am strong. I feel strong. I'm great. Most of us don't. We just have to know that we are, because we're survivors. We've gotten this far. Regardless of whether we feel emotionally totally fallen apart, we're still extremely strong human beings because we have made it this far. And we have made it through what we've dealt with. Period. Yeah, we all have a YouTube persona for reasons. And that is, it can be personal reasons, professional reasons, it can be because of, yeah, you name it. So like I said, just because you do have a certain mask on or a certain persona, it doesn't mean you're not genuine in how you communicate with somebody, in what you do say. I think of it more as editing ourselves a little bit, right? In terms of how we present. Exactly. Cosmic says to have strong moments? Question mark, but yeah, but you made it to this point. So I love you too, Jen. Cosmic, I love you. Ned, you're incredible. All the work that she does for us, the work that she's done for me, the work that she has done just to be where she is, which is still here and still alive and still going, is incredible. You know, Audrey, I think you're a wonderfully strong person for life. You uprooted your entire life, moved it to a different continent, and are making it through there. I know it's only been, since July, but still, you guys are all wonderful. You're all wonderful in your own ways. And I thank each and every one of you for being here and for joining me. And I'm staying away from the AI, Jen, because I'm afraid I would get addicted to it. uh, Yeah, I spoke about this earlier, Mark, that depending on where this goes, if I do make 1,000 subs eventually with 4,000 watch hours, I might have to go to, SA and CSA and CP for, all the different types of trauma that we talk about. But you guys will know what I mean. And predator versus pedophile, there's just, I'm not going to use graped. I think it sounds silly and stupid. But again, I don't see myself, even if I reach that level, that the monetization is going to make all that big of a difference anyway. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. All right, guys, it is 5:20. I promised my son that I would throw some stuff on for dinner. So I'm going to let you go here. Thank you all for being with me during the chat, during our conversation that we actually had on the topic, and then also just our chit chat here afterwards. I love it. It helps me connect with you guys more. And like I said, connection is absolutely positive. It does not have to be a negative. Just be careful, be wary, and protect yourself. So that's all I have to say about that. Oh, and there's notification from him as we speak. Everyone who joined me today, thank you so much. Remember, each and every one of you, you are valuable, you are worthy, and you are loved just the way you are for who you are. We're surviving together, never alone. Hugs and love from me. See you guys. Till the next one.